a growing call there from diplomats in the room to kick Russia out of the UN Human Rights Council. Well, we can cross now to the United Nations and speak to our correspondent Jessica Lemazaria, who's covering all of this for us today. Jessica, lots to unpick there, but let's start, first of all, if we can, by that call made by the US representative, backed up by the Albanian representative, that Russia should be removed from the UN Human Rights Council. How might that work? Is there a precedent for something like that?
Actually, the United States called for that on Monday. Yes, there is a precedent, I believe, with Libya, and it would be a process in which there would have to be a draft resolution which would be put to the United Nations General Assembly here in New York, and then member states would vote, and then that could lead to the suspension of Russia from the UN's Human Rights Council, so the suspension of its voting rights in that council. So that text, this draft resolution, we could see it circulating in the coming days here at the United Nations. Now, the Security Council has just been shown a very graphic video that was presented by Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, in which I am not sure even how to describe the horrors in that video. It shows civilians killed during this war, including the bodies of children. And we've heard during this council session today about the impact of this war on women and children in particular, and allegations of atrocities committed by Russian forces in Bucha. Zelensky detailed those, and other ambassadors as well, describing even children having to watch their mothers being raped in front of them by Russian forces. So those allegations of war crimes and atrocities committed by Russian forces in Ukraine. Now, Russia says that this is all a fabrication, that it is a sort of false flag action launched by Ukraine to slander Russian forces. But ambassadors have pointed out during this council session that this is 2022, and there are satellite images to prove that these corpses were already on the ground while the Russians were still there, and that there's evidence from independent investigators and from journalists who've been to the scene to suggest that atrocities have been committed in Ukraine by Russian forces. We haven't yet heard from the Russian ambassador, who said that he's going to be presenting empirical evidence that this is all a fabrication. So we'll wait to see what he has to say. But certainly we've heard very strong words today from Zelensky. This is the first time he's addressed the UN since the war started. He just came across as really angry and really frustrated. He berated the UN, saying that if the UN can't reform, and the term he used was stop the veto from being used as the right to die, then the UN should essentially dissolve. So really calling on world powers to take action. And Western powers responded to that with the US ambassador saying, yes, we support Ukraine, and congratulating Zelensky on his wartime leadership. But really there was the sense of real frustration from Zelensky to the UN's failure to act and really prevent this war.
Jessica Lemazaria, live at the United Nations in New York. Thank you very much indeed for your analysis on what it is that we've been watching coming out of the Security Council meeting.